Hello everybody, in this video I'm going to teach you guys how to use a Garmin Nuvi 750 and 760 GPS units, and these are one of the discontinued models that Garmin doesn't manufacture anymore, but it does have certain features that even the newer Garmins don't have. So let's watch and learn. One of the great features is that when you dock and undock the GPS unit, you don't necessarily have to unplug the power cord, because as you can see, the power cord plugs in to the base and the GPS plugs in through here, attaches itself through here with these connectors, and you simply dock it back in place, which is very convenient. Second, this is one of the few Garmin GPS units that's equipped with earphone jack. You can plug in an earphone here and use it on a loud motorcycle with a headset, which is also handy if you want to play your MP3 songs through it. So that's one of the good things about this unit, which is not available in much newer models. Okay, so now I'm gonna explain and tell you how to use this. First thing you want to do when you turn on the GPS, go to settings and program the GPS based on your specific needs. Everybody's needs are different. That's why the GPS units need to be programmed for every individual use. First we're going to click on tools, then we're going to go to settings. In settings, first thing, systems. In system, you have to change the unit of measurements to miles if you're in the United States, and you have to go to kilometer if you're anywhere else in the world. And the usage mode is currently set to automobile, but you have to change it to bicycle or pedestrian based on whatever use you need it for. It's important to choose the correct settings, because if you use bicycle, it's not going to take you to the freeways or places where bicycles are not allowed. Or if you use pedestrian, it will calculate your route based on a pedestrian's path or footpaths. It's not going to take you to places where the cars go. Alright, so I go back, and now the keyboard layout. The keyboard layout, honestly, I don't like ABCD. I like it to be the way the computer keyboards are, which is QWERTY. It's much easier because you're used to the computer. For example, you know where each alphabet is. With ABCDEFG, it's hard to know. GPS simulator, it's good to leave it off because it will simulate if you're indoors, and if you're traveling and the road is going through a underground road or a tunnel, then this will be handy. It will assume, the way it works is this way. It will assume your speed inside the tunnel or inside the underground path based on the speed that you entered the tunnel. So that's how it's gonna operate. So we're gonna go back and we're gonna set the navigation. Navigation, it's good to choose faster time, but you can choose faster, shorter distance or off-road based on your needs. If you choose a shorter distance, remember it could have multiple red lights and end up being much longer time than a faster time. And if you choose faster time, it could be through a longer path, but mostly use of highways or high-speed roads. So that's comes in handy if you have a rental car that you're paying based on the mileage. Then it's good to use shorter distance. Otherwise, always faster time is better. And if you're afraid of the freeways, if you're a new driver, then you want to choose shorter distance and go through back roads and alleys and whatnot. Okay, and off-road is only good if you have a vehicle which is equipped with off-roading. You can't use it on a sedan or non four-wheel drive vehicle. Okay, so avoidance, it's good to enable it based on your need. You need to, whichever box is checked, that's the item that will be avoided. Okay, so I'm gonna turn everything off and explain. For example, if you have an RV, you must avoid U-turns, because you cannot make a U-turn with a 40-foot RV. Or if you have a, let's say, 50 foot semi truck, you cannot make a U-turn, so you have to avoid it. Okay, you have to avoid highways if you have a bicycle. If you have to avoid toll roads if you don't want to pay money in every corner of the city. For example, I was driving in Paris, France, and there were all kinds of toll roads right and left. Same thing with in Italy. When I was using the freeways, there were toll roads. Now, even though toll roads are good to avoid, but sometimes it's handy to pay the toll and go through that freeway than to go like through back roads and spend like 2 hours more on the road and spend on gas. So you have to calculate that and see which one is good for you. Traffic, everybody wants to avoid traffic, but that's only good if you have a traffic receiver. If you don't have a traffic receiver, checking this or unchecking this doesn't make any difference. Okay, ferries, you know, the little boats that will carry the car, you need to avoid it if your vehicle is too big to be loaded on a ferry. For example, an RV, a bus, a truck. Okay, carpool lanes, it's always good to avoid if you're traveling alone. If you have companion, then you can use carpool lanes. And unpaved roads is also good to avoid if you are basically having a vehicle like a lowrider vehicle or a car that's not high enough to maneuver in unpaved roads. Okay, so all the avoidance are disabled for now. Okay, now display brightness. You have two options. You could choose daytime or nighttime. Currently it's daytime, but this is the nighttime. Everything goes dark. See that? That's the nighttime. Some people like the nighttime for nighttime and daytime for daytime, but honestly I like the daytime all the time, even at night. And if you choose it automatic, it will automatically go to nighttime when it gets dark. So daytime is better for me, but you could, you know, choose whichever one is good for you. Okay, go back. Time, you need to choose which time zone you're in. The GPS will automatically adjust the time from the satellite signal. You don't have to change the time, just choose the time zone. The language, every language that has TTS, it will speak the street names. For example, instead of saying turn right, it will tell you turn right on Broadway. Instead of saying turn left, it will say turn left on 2nd Street, like that. So it will speak the street names. So it's good to choose TTS. Same thing, so the languages that don't have TTS, it will not speak the name of the streets. For example, in these languages, it does speak the name of the street. In Spanish, it does, and you know, like that. So I hope that's easy to understand. So for example, in English, let's see how many American English speak the name. So there are two American English name. One is Jack, one is Jill, that will speak the name, but this one doesn't. It's just it will tell you turn right, turn left without speaking the name of the road. So that's what that is. Okay, so map. The map, you want it normal or more detailed? I like it more detailed, because why not if you can show more detail of the map? So I choose most, and see, if you choose most, you see more roads and alleys. If you choose less, it will only shows big roads and freeways. So I like most. Okay, mapped three-dimensional is good because the whichever direction you're traveling, it will show you that direction. If you choose north up, then only north will be up wherever you're traveling. If you choose track up, wherever you're going will be up. And if you choose 3D, then it's a three-dimensional map, which is much better. I like 3D. The north track up is good, but north up is confusing, because if you choose north up, the car could be on the screen, the car could be going down when you're going forward. Because if you're going, for example, if you're going south, your vehicle will be going this way, like that, uh, even though you're going forward. In the picture, it appears as if you're going reverse. So that's why I don't like the north up option. Okay, so vehicle, you could change the vehicle. There's so many different vehicles you can download from Garmin website, but this is the common ones that already come with it, like, you know, little triangle, little sedan and whatnot. And you could change the trip log. Trip log shows where you have already been with a highlighted color. For example, if it will warn you if you're going in circles and not making any progress, because you will be stepping over the same path you've been through before, like that. So it's good to have, but it's kind of confusing if you have another layer of information on the map screen. So alright, so security is important. Currently Garmin lock is off, but if you turn it on, then you have to put a password, and it only unlocks if you put the password pin, or if you come back to the same geographical location, GPS location, to the same GPS coordinates, it will unlock. So if you set up the Garmin lock somewhere other than your house, then you're in trouble if you forget the password, because then you have to throw away your GPS unit. If you set it up inside your house and you forget the password, as soon as you come home, the GPS will sense the GPS coordinates, and it will automatically unlock. So safe mode, I like it off, but this means if it is off, you could punch in address while your vehicle is in motion, but if you turn it on, you cannot operate the GPS while your vehicle is in motion. It will not allow you for safety reasons. So if you are a new driver, you don't want to do it. But the reason I leave it off is because usually my wife sits right next to me. She's the one punching in the addresses while I'm driving. So it doesn't make any difference for me. That's why. Okay. So let's see. That was security. Now Bluetooth, you can add a phone if you want to. If you don't have a smartphone, then you don't have to worry about that. Volume, there are two different volumes. One is the master volume, one is the navigation, and one is the media. So like this is like a mixer. So you could have the master volume at 80, but navigation will be 70 versus the media. Navigation will be 100 versus the media being 70. So the navigation instruction will be much louder, and it will overwrite the song that's playing. And this unit is equipped with FM transmitter. So if you choose FM transmitter, you have to agree to this, all those conditions. Some countries don't allow that. Be careful, because it's a radio transmission on the FM channel. In some countries that's illegal. So you need to know if your country will allow it. And click on agree. And read that. And click on enable. I don't want to enable it, but if you do enable it, you have to choose the frequency that you want this to transmit the songs or the verbal commands, navigation commands. So you have to choose the frequency. So what you need to do is find an empty spot in your FM radio where there aren't any other stations, and then adjust this frequency accordingly and enable the FM transmitter. And if you do that, there will be no sound coming out of the speaker of the GPS unit. The GPS unit will be completely silent, and all the sound will be transmitted to the FM radio. So I'm going to uncheck it because I don't want that. Okay, so proximity point is not available in all models, but some of them do have. And usually it tells you about like Garmin safety cameras and whatnot. If you're speeding and there's a camera, it will warn you to slow down. Europe is infested with safety cameras, especially Germany. When I was driving, like almost every 2-3 kilometers there would be a camera. So it's good to have that feature. It saved me from getting tickets right and left. In some countries, by the way, it's illegal to have that. For example, in France, you cannot have a Garmin safety camera alert. It's against the laws. But in most countries, it's completely legal to have that. All right. So yeah, those are the settings. Once you're done with the settings, this is how you operate the unit. You go to where to, and then you click on address and punch in the address of the place where you're going to. You can change the country here, spell the country. If you don't know the spelling, just click done. It will give you the list of all the countries that are in there, and then you could choose from that country and move on. And if you want to go home, just click that. If you want to go to points of interest, you just choose which point of interest, like spell the name, or you want to go to food places, fuel places, transit, lodging, shopping, bank, ATM, parking, and whatnot. All the list goes on and on. So you can choose from them. And you could go to recently found places that you have already been to. Since this GPS it has been reset, so that recently found is not available. And favorite is where you can set up your home address. Intersection is very important in places where the addressing system is not very accurate. So what you do is they give you for their address, they give you the crossing streets. Like they say, okay, I'm in the corner of Broadway and 2nd Avenue, and you just enter Broadway 2nd in the zip code, or you don't even have to put the zip code, just you put the city and then the cross sectional streets, and it will give you directions to that particular intersection. And so that's good. Now the most important thing is the coordinates, which I'll get to that. Now browse map is if you look at the map, and based on the location of that map you could choose a place, like click on something and go there. You could zoom in and zoom out. So that's pretty good to see what's nearby. Browse map comes in handy if you don't know where exactly you are, and then you could browse the map and see what's nearby and then choose a place to go to. So it comes in handy. Coordinates is very important because in a lot of places they don't have exact addresses. For example, in Italy, I was going to this hotel that the address was so complicated that the guy gave me the north and the south. It wasn't north and west, it was north and east. Yeah, north and east GPS coordinates, and I entered it and the GPS took me there. It's very important to make sure that the coordinates you enter is north, south, northeast, or south and west, because you have to choose these. If you don't choose the correct direction, the coordinates that you will be entering could be somewhere in the middle of the ocean. So it's very good to choose, important to choose this correctly. Like north, this many degrees and this many seconds and whatnot, and same thing with the east and west and whatnot. Okay, so these are the formats that you can choose, you know, degrees and hours and minutes and seconds. You can choose that. Yeah, so that's how you use it, and you could click on view map to see where you currently are, like that, and volume, and that's it. So I hope this was educational for you. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and thank you for watching. Have a nice day.